Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video about how your thoughts equal emotion and your emotion equals vibration, and how your vibration determines the reality that you live in and what's attracted to you. And I made a whole voice recording on this. It's about 40 minutes long. So I wanted to make a little shorter of a version of this. I'm going to upload the voice recorded version onto my YouTube account though, so you can listen to the longer version too. Um, so let's start out with your thoughts. You're thinking all the time. And that's why I think it's one of the most important things is to learn how to control your thought patterns and to realize that you actually aren't your thoughts, you're witnessing your thoughts. So when you think a thought and you're triggered to think a thought, what happens is there's a neural pathway that's built up in your brain most of the time that is triggered to go when a certain event happens or you feel a certain way, but normally it's when something in your outside surroundings happen, and it's either used to defend your ego or defend you or think bad about yourself or think bad about other people. Normally the thinking bad about other people is defending yourself. And this isn't to say that all thought forms are bad. It's just to say that it's good to notice that we're programmed to think negatively a lot of the time about ourselves and other people. And this in turn determines our emotional experience. And feelings are very, very important. Feelings are one of the only things that no matter what kind of human you are, no matter what you're into, we all feel the same way. You know how it feels to be blissful. You know how it feels to laugh. You know how it feels to be sad. You know how it feels to hurt. You know how it feels to be angry and frigid, No matter who you are, no matter what you're into, you know how these things feel. And because you know how these things feel, it doesn't matter whether what you're into or what you do or who you are, you want to feel happy. And I know that because I'm a human and I want to feel happy too. And as a species, we are so separated from each other at this point that it feels like we don't really have much in common, but everyone wants to feel good. And so when you're thinking the right way, then your mind will start having thoughts and your feeling center will start having feelings that determine your whole emotional experience of your life. So if you're having liberating and powerful thoughts about yourself and other people, then you're going to feel a lot better. Unfortunately, most of the thought patterns that we have stem from feeling bad or disempowered, and power is one of the biggest lessons that we're learning as a whole of humanity in this lifetime, because you look around and we are constantly getting power taken away from us. We're constantly having power struggles, and that mirrors down because it's in this society, but it mirrors down to each other and our relationships with each other, because that's what we're taught and that's how we're treated, and so that's all we know. And if you can determine how you think, then it in turn mirrors how you feel, and that will in turn give you more thought patterns that support or don't support your feeling experience. Normally, actually, they will support your feeling experience. The only times that they don't support your feeling experience is if another thought form comes up that is a deeper neural pathway to bring you back down again. And normally once you start doing this work, you'll find, and it kind of gets annoying sometimes, you'll find that there is much more than one thought programming that will come up that will try to bring you back down. And so, but the reason for that is because we're taught a lot of worry, and worry programming is an interesting thing because it actually stems from our survival and our thoughts that we need to be surviving and we need protection constantly. And I'm not saying that it's not, I'm not saying that it's not necessary, but what I'm saying is that we don't need to worry. Worrying is not a need. Being aware is a need and a necessary thing, but worrying about something that hasn't happened yet isn't good. And let me explain why. Is because when you have an emotion, you are now feeling a vibrational experience, because you are feeling, like when people say, oh, that guy has a good vibe, or like that show had a good vibe, or I like his vibe, or I don't like that guy's vibe, or whatever, what they're talking about is a vibration. And it's the way, if you were to throw like a rock in a pool and how it ripples outwardly, that's how we feel ripples outwardly. If you are to be around someone that's really, really depressed, you know what I'm talking about. If you're around someone that's really, really happy, you know what I'm talking about. You pick up on their feeling. And it's almost like it invisibly is an energy that can mirror outwardly. And especially the more you start opening yourself, the more we become kind of like psychic sponges, where sometimes we're too vulnerable to other people's feeling experiences. And that's a matter of learning to keep your center and protect yourself, because I know that this can be a very hard thing to go through. It sounds really cool, like, oh, I'm getting super sensitive to energy. It's not that cool, because most people, unfortunately, aren't super happy all the time. A lot of the times you'll get people throwing their emotions at you, and they don't even know that they're doing it, and it's not really their fault, and it's not really your fault, but it's something to work on within yourself, so you don't have to pick up on other people's negative emotions. And you don't have to mirror their negative emotions. You can learn to just kind of become your own being and not their mirror for their negativity. So when you have an emotion, it creates your vibe or vibration. And if you look at the law of attraction states that which is likened to itself is drawn, meaning that everything that you are feeling is going to be, the same types of feelings are going to be drawn back to you in your outward world. And I've seen this before in people that are, hate life and think the world's horrible and are really angry at everything. And they'll find, and their perception will view things that are very negative, and they'll get things stolen from them, and they'll get, people giving them dirty looks, and good things might be around them, but they're not perceiving them. And so in their reality, they don't exist, because they're so focused on the negative and how negative everything is that they don't see the positive. In turn, there's also people that see, things in a very positive light, and they're appreciative of everything, and they love, life, and they're constantly met with people that are smiling and appreciating them, and just as they're appreciating other people, and all these amazing, cool things are happening to them. And even when negative things happen to them, their perception about the negative things are negative, and so they don't get bogged down, and their vibrational state stays risen. And so more positive things just keep coming to light for them, because they're more aware of them in their reality. And it's just really important to notice how you're feeling most of the time, and whether you're choosing to feel that way. And if you're not choosing to feel that way, then what is making you feel that way? And how can you better have control over what's making you feel that way? Because how you think and how you experience your reality determines your entire universe. It determines your life. It determines what things you notice come to you, and what things you don't notice, and what things you wall up and put boundaries around so they can't. And the more that you do this work, the more that you'll realize it really is taking down walls, and it is rebuilding. It's rebuilding a whole world, and within that world, it's really rebuilding actually how you think and how you experience your reality, because your thoughts will mirror your emotions, which will mirror your vibrational experience. And everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to experience amazing things in their life. And you can't experience amazing things in your life if you're focused on negative things, or if you're not even knowing how negative your thought patterns are. And so that's what I mean by thought forms. That's what I mean by reprogramming. And the reason that I call it programming is because we don't realize how mind controlled we are, and by that I mean controlled by our minds. And we don't it's kind of like you start to do this work and you wonder, where did I start thinking all of these things? And it's really the society that we're born into. And the reason that you have to have compassion for yourself, because the reason that you learned all those things and now you're wanting to relearn them is because you're like, well, why didn't I just not learn? Like, if it would have been so much easier if I just learned the right way. If you learned the right way, you wouldn't have compassion for the rest of humanity, and you wouldn't understand why they are how they are. And this is really important, because we really are, not only are we self-teachers, but the way that we are inspires other people to be. And so we're teachers for each other as well. And so if you really you can't teach, if you teach a student that you don't understand where the student is coming from, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily directly teaching, a lot of us won't be directly teaching people, it just depends whether it's in your purpose or not, and all of us have, special purposes being here right now. You can't have compassion, if you can't have compassion for who you're teaching, then it's going to be really hard to understand where they're coming from, and you would get really frustrated really quickly. But for me, the main reason that I can feel for people, and the main reason that I can be where people are at, and the main reason that I can help people where they are and understand where they are and maybe know the right things to tell them to get to another place, is because I've been there, and I know how it is, and I know how it feels, and I know how sometimes you feel very hopeless, and I know what got me out of it, and I know how I got out of it, and I know the path that I took to get out of it. And so, and I, I'm living proof that you can get out of it, and that's inspiring to them. And so really, yeah, it's necessary. Be patient with yourself, be patient with other people, and have compassion for yourself and everyone, because we all are born into a world that is really intense, and it kind of sucks sometimes, but we all know how it is, and we're all working on understanding how to be not that way. So yeah, if you guys have any questions on anything that you want me to explain, or you're having any problems with anything or whatever, someone asked me or told me that it would be a good idea to ask people more about what they want to know, or they would like explained, or where they're at, and if I have any insight to that. I'll be making more videos on actually how to control your thought forms, and what thought forms come up, and the relationship between how you think and how you affect your outward reality on a deeper level. But I just kind of wanted to make this because I was being asked a little bit about it. And if you didn't, the audio, I will upload the audio. I had it on my SoundCloud. It's funny that I have a SoundCloud for audio, but I have it on my SoundCloud, and it's a pretty good talk where I really break down how thought forms create emotion, and how that creates your vibrational reality, and how that in turn creates the physical reality around you. So if you feel pulled to listen to it, listen to it. I know that it's not a video, so you can't watch anything, so it might be boring, but do some art, sit down, do whatever, and listen, because I listen to this kind of stuff and I draw all the time because I'm constantly studying and learning. So whatever you feel called to. If you don't, that's okay. I'll be making more videos. I love you guys. Thank you for doing what you're doing. You're really, truly amazing beings, and you're just starting to learn that. Oh, by the way, check out this sunset. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I know, right? Mwah! Have a beautiful day.